Today I want to talk about technology exploration and the use of innovative technology in the classroom. Now, before we begin, I know that the word innovation has very good connotations, and it should, right? But we need to keep in mind that this is all dependent on active and thoughtful design of not just activities, but your learning objectives and the way that you approach the instruction. Now, you can have fancy new gadgets or fancy new software and technology, but if you're still using some of the same approaches that might be outdated or might not pull the students or the learners into the lesson, you're going to have the same issues as if you were teaching from a paper and pencil instruction booklet or just lecturing from a podium as if you were in an old-timey classroom. So we want to make sure that whatever innovative use of technology you think you're using is actively solving a problem of instruction, not just adding fancy bells and whistles to your class. Now, let's talk about a couple of tools that I think are helpful for this process. And I'll go ahead and split them into DIY and what you would call institutional licenses. The tools that I want to talk about today are going to be categorized as such: building communities and presenting your instruction. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first tool I want to talk about is Discord. It got its start as a platform for gaming and hobbyist communities, but as you can see, it now hosts a wide variety of learning communities, and you can create your own. With Discord, you can create a community server and start inviting your students to participate. If you have a class or lecture hall full of Generation C or even younger millennials, they will be very familiar with this functionality as this is now the way a lot of communities communicate and host a lot of active participation. You'll be able to set up different channels, share images, diagrams, text and notes. You can share files up to 8 megabytes. As an alternative to Discord, there is Microsoft Teams, which if you have the institutional license for it, you can create a team specifically for a class. This will allow you to invite your students using their school email. All of the conversations will be password protected and dedicated solely to the classroom. Additionally, you can create activities like active collaboration documents in PowerPoint or in Word documents that lets the students create their own slide or add to their notebook and add their information as you're learning. A community of learning would be nothing without the content that you're actually presenting to your students. So we're going to talk about the various tools that make that possible. Now, for presenting information, if you're doing it yourself, one of the options we have available is streaming and using OBS, Open Broadcast Software, and either Twitch or Facebook or YouTube stream. You can set up live recording synchronously or asynchronously for your students to join in and participate. Now, you might ask, how is this different from just lectures, right? Zoom meetings, etc. Well, there is a particular style of hosting that is attached to streaming, and that is actively pulling the student into the conversation, the participation, acknowledging when they get into the session, inviting them to share more information, and just kind of chilling out. It doesn't have to be fully or constantly high stakes. Alternatively, you have that you could have as a license or might seek to convince your department or institution to obtain is Flipgrid. It's a very fun tool for creating topics that allow the students to share in video format, or perhaps if they don't have the device, to share by text. And you can engage them using recorded video as well as selecting the topics ahead of time. Now, Flipgrid gets a lot of appreciation in elementary and secondary education because it is a very active way of communicating with your students. So there we have it. That was a lot of content. I want to also talk about what we would do for project 2. Since we're not in an official institution working for this project, I think a casual community of learning like Discord and synchronously sharing our knowledge using Twitch or YouTube would be our preferred approach. If this was a class, home ec for students in secondary or elementary class, we could probably benefit a lot from Flipgrid and Teams, since that's what a lot of institutions are using. And Flipgrid would allow the students to showcase their baking skills, measuring skills, etc. in an easy way, and the students would have a modular process where the instructor sets the topic and the students immediately share their recording, as long as they have their own device, of course. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, just leave them down below in the comment section. I'll make sure to follow up. Have a good day. Bye.